Blog Talk Radio. The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representation as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
Tracks that go rope, that five-finger ring rap, running with my same pack. You can find the price where the lepers and the lames at. Life is like a dice game. One roll can land you in jail or cutting cake, blowing kisses in the rice rain. Nice whip, nice chain, a closet of skulls. The stench is like slave blood and private and tall. Yeah, they built my city on top of a grave. Niggas die, niggas get high and watch the parade. Back in the early 90s, where they at, where they at? Get the gat was a popular phrase. Valley animals and rugbies was a popular craze. This the vivid memoirs of an obnoxious slave. I paved ways like Nat and Harriet. I'll blast on Judas Iscariot and peel off in the chariot. Respect the architect, never test the Elohim. Good night, this is JLX live from New Orleans. New Orleans. So real, I'm surreal, the pure deal. Dante Flacco, flow handsome, guapo. The sun, moon, and stars, grits in the gospel. School and knock harder and the teachings of apostles. Pistols, prayer me.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy November 2nd. Hope everyone got some definitely some good rest on the weekend. And I know people don't celebrate Halloween or costume day or anything like that, but I did want to just say, just happy costume day to anybody who did. I definitely enjoyed myself in terms of, riding the bus at 6:30 in the morning and actually seeing all kind of high school students dress up in all kinds of ways, not anything too crazy. Actually had a hippie sit by me on the bus, and that was pretty funny. But anyway, I want to welcome everyone to Talk Real Solutions. I'm your host, Matthew Solly, a.k.a. ssoreal, and I'm just going to go ahead and just give you guys a rundown. If you've heard it 1,000 times, so what? If this is your first time tuning in, I always greet you guys, and, we always have our 3-point plan at our Talk Real Solutions website, TalkRealSolutions.com. All you got to do is just go there. You can actually Google search if you can't find it. You can Google search on our website, 3-point plan, and from there, you'll be able to actually download for free a 3-point plan that will help you get financially free. The step one is to get together with like-minded people. It actually shows you specific ways of how to do that. Step two helps you to stop all unnecessary spending and save your money. It's so very important. And, of course, step three basically says that as a unit, you'll be able to invest or save your money in a verified and trusted institution. And also, it will be a possible goal for you to actually open up your own black business. And below, you actually find a link to the African American-owned banks and credit unions that will help you get to start up right away. So, also, please donate to Talk Real Solutions. Definitely we do not take any of your financial donations for granted at all. There's a link on our website for those of you who have donated. We truly, truly thank you for your most tangible support. And this basically helps us to maintain the website and to keep you entertained as well as informed. So Also, new to us is our YouTube channel, Talk Real Solutions Animated. That's right. That means that you can actually swirl through all of Talk Real Solutions radio episodes, and if you happen to find something kind of funny, something that sticks out, especially the Black Jesus Minister, you can actually email us, or at least email me personally at ssoreal@gmail.com. And from there, you'll be able to just tell me what clip, what timing that you actually found something funny or informative, and we'll actually turn it into an animated video for you to share with your family and friends. So for us, when you're laughing, you're learning. And it all goes toward growing in a number where we're actually expanding for a greater cause. Other than that, that's pretty much our rundown. I just did have some pretty much opening thoughts I wanted to share today. As you guys all know, I basically work in the schools. I work in 5 schools a week full time, and there was a pretty interesting little episode I had with some of my high schoolers this past Tuesday. As usual, I always end up teaching some good PowerPoints that I put together about drugs and alcohol, and I was going to go ahead and just kind of teach another lesson, just a wrap-up lesson, but I decided to do something different at the last minute. Since I got paid my 3-week paycheck, I decided to literally out of nowhere basically give about what? I think I gave away $30. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how in the world did I give away $30 from 9 o'clock all the way till 2 in the afternoon? Well, I split it up into $5 each. That means for every class I taught, the student had to be in front of the PowerPoint, and they had to face away from it, and they had to face their peers. And from there, I would go through slide by slide, and they would have to actually remember what was on the slide. I would ask them questions. If they got it close enough, then they would be able to proceed to the next slide. Whoever got through the most slides won the $5 by the end. Let me tell you, if you want kids to kind of remember things, money is the best motivator. I'm sorry, it just is. I mean, that was pretty impressive. I had kids going neck and neck. I mean, they remembered the 5 types of drugs: hallucinogens, inhalants, stimulants, uppers, downers. I mean, they just went on and on. And it was a joy to my heart. It really let me know what capacity they can actually remember something when they, pretty much are motivated to put all their heart into it. And the last class, they didn't notice, unless they're listening to this tonight. The last class actually got $10. So $10 went to that winner. Of course, I think it was a tie between a boy and a girl, and so they just pretty much split it. But yeah, that was a pretty much of a joy for me this week. I could have talked about some other things, but I don't want to be too long-winded. I just thought I'd throw that story in there. So listen up. Tonight, we actually have a interesting topic. As you guys know, I'm always trying to see where your hearts are and what kind of issues are really on people's minds. And so, hold on. That text message? I'm sorry. Give me a few minutes. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yes, my special guest is text messaging me, letting me know that she's here, and I definitely see her. This brings us to the topic tonight. Tonight's topic was introduced by, once again, you as the audience. Throughout the week, I'm always keep my ear open to see what people really want to talk about. And the first person that presents something to me is the person that gets to present the topic. So tonight's topic is Israelites and Black women. Okay? Israelites and Black women. That's basically our topic. Just to let you know, this isn't something that I'm, not too unfamiliar with. I mean, I keep my ears open for a lot of things, but sometimes in this area, of course, obviously, I haven't heard everything. But I've heard snippets of things that that I knew that had much, much deeper roots. And I knew that one day this topic would be visited. I just didn't expect it to actually be this early and this soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the women that are in the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. We're going to hear certain stories and see if this kind of quality of living and how they're being treated, we're going to see if at all it's actually biblical. Unfortunately there are some, not so good stories, and a lot of these issues are based on what people, or basically the men, find in the Bible in order to justify their quality of relationship that they have with women or their wife or their wives. But we're going to go ahead and make sure that after we, slowly walk through these stories and me asking questions, we're actually going to go to the Bible, and we're going to see if these kind of analogies or doctrines can be hashed out biblically. And also, I'm actually going to go ahead and walk through just a small snippet of an old PowerPoint that I did on my channel, ssoreal. On my YouTube channel, when I one day compared Jesus to Muhammad. And so that's pretty much our lineup tonight. So I already see that I have my caller on the line here, so I'm going to go ahead and let her in. Just give me a second. Okay, 773, you are live.
Hey, ssoreal, how are you?
What's good, Miss Cherry Love? How are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing great. I just got off from work, so I do want to apologize to you, and I would like to apologize to your audience. You got to make a paper.
Oh no, hey, trust me, it is definitely no problem with a working woman. Shoot. I think even in the Bible there was a husband and wife team, and they were both tent makers. So hey, that's right. Even women in the Bible, they definitely did have jobs and all that. So please, definitely, it's all good. But
yes, just like
other than that, how's life? You know what I mean? How's the kids and
They're good. My 7-month-old, she's running the house. My husband, he's doing great. We are as close as ever.
Awesome.
I love him. He loves me, and God is doing His thing with us. So I have no complaints whatsoever. I have no problem of submitting to Him at all. Because he is definitely a godly man, and I'm blessed with that. I am truly blessed to have a wonderful man in my life. So God has shown favor.
All right, yeah. I mean, speaking of favor, really, you guys are the favor. I know that the book of Proverbs says that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord. So,
amen.
Yes. You guys definitely are, the insight of our lives, Yes. But anyway, so I wanted to really kind of delve into this subject because I know that I think you and I, we've had some maybe a talk or two here and there on this subject, maybe a snippet here and there, and I even remember one time on a YouTube hangout, you really opened up about this topic, and I kind of tabled that in the back of my head for a second. I said, you know what? I think I got to revisit that one day, and this was earlier this summer where you kind of really spoke about that. So, I didn't know if, you wanted to kind of just have a little opening of what you wanted to say before I end up asking you some questions or getting into anything. Is there just something in general you just wanted to say about, tonight? Because, we got a lot of people listening.
Well, okay. Well, first, if you hear any feedback or a lot of cars moving around, that's because I'm outside, or any wind. That's because, once again, I'm outside, and I I just got off the bus, so I'm waiting for the bus. What I wanted to bring out is the women that I have talked to and listened to their stories that were involved in the Hebrew Israelites and that are still in the Hebrew Israelites but looking for a way out. I'm going to start off with my cousin who was involved with a man, I believe is still in the Hebrew Israelites. He's part of ISUPK. And basically, I know some people maybe in the audience might have heard this testimony already, so you probably know where this might go, and then it's quite a few of you guys who have heard it. I will warn you, if you got any children in the room, please, you might want to escort them out. I'll try to, be as mild as I can. I'm going to start out with my cousin's testimony, my family member, my blood. Me and her were thick as thieves. We were, close as to be, born on the same day, okay? And, hey, I believe we probably drunk from the same bottle. I don't know, can't remember that far back, but I'm sure that we did because we were that close. Where do I begin? Anyway, 3 years ago, she was dating this young guy. Relationship was good in the beginning. We didn't really know too much about him or whatever. And, when you're dating somebody, that's between them two. Okay, she found a guy she liked. Okay, cool. And, things were going good for a while or whatever. And I'm just going to jump forward. She started going through a change, okay? She stopped coming around. She stopped, really hanging out with me. Me and her first cousin. Like I said, we were thick as, sisters. Not even, we didn't consider ourselves cousins. We considered ourselves sisters. And all of a sudden, that dwindled. And, by me having a family, by me working and, doing online schooling and stuff like that, I really, I paid attention, but I didn't pay attention at first. But what really tipped everything off was she didn't show up for the holidays. And that's when we all come together and, conjugate as a family, show each other one another love and all of that good stuff. Now, I know it's some Hebrew Israelites on the line and they're saying, oh, there go that holiday. Well, get that out your mind because this is not about a holiday. This is about an event of family coming together, and all of a sudden that stopped. And then so I started inquiring, I had called her, and I'm like, what's going on? Why you didn't show up? What happened? And she's like, oh, I don't celebrate holidays anymore. I don't do this, that, and the third. And I'm like, what? Now, mind you, she was grown up in the Christian church, too, as well as I was. But her going in depth with the scriptures like that, she did not go in depth like I did. And so, she knew God, but, the actual getting in deep, what I'm talking about, ssoreal, getting in deep with the Bible like that, she really didn't, do all of that. And that's cool. That's cool because you got people out here that's like that. But she wound up falling or letting this guy lead her into this particular, and I'm going to say it, a cult. And literally, her attitude changed. Her attitude got so vulgar, it became hatred and rage. And my family and I, we just dumbfounded like, well, what the heck is going on with her? You know, what's her problem? You know, and she started calling us wicked and Christians are paganists and this, that, and the third. I'm like, whoa. Hold on. Wait a minute. I could have sworn we went to the same church here. How are you calling us paganistic and this, that, and the third? And so she's got the quoting these teachings and stuff, and it's something I've never heard of before, because I'm gonna let everybody know I did not come into knowledge of the Hebrew Israelites until dealing with her situation. And her situation forced me to do some actual research, because she brought it to me, trying to, I guess, somewhat chastise me or school me on my paganistic Christianity ways. So I said, okay, you know what? I need to find out exactly what this mess is, because something is just not adding up here. So meanwhile, the relationship between her and I just literally dwindled to almost nothing. And this was like towards the second year of her dating this young man. So I want to say this was like January this is 2016, so we're talking about 2015. And so I'm looking like, all right, let me find out where she's coming from. So I did some research, and I really couldn't find much on the actual internet itself. It wasn't giving me I'm like, I need to actually see who these people are, and this ISUPK she keep going on about, because she had invited me, to one of their classes. And so I'm getting on the bus. So if you hear, riff-raff in the back.
That's okay. You're doing fine.
So anyway, she had invited me to this, and I said, okay, let me find out what this is about. So I went on YouTube, and I went directly to ISUPK, and I was shocked. I said, I had typed this in wrong. I know I typed this in wrong. I know this is not the same thing that this girl is talking about. So anyway, I typed it in again, just for my own mind's sake, and it was correct. And I started hearing these teachings of the white man is going to be our slaves, and Christianity is paganist, and women. Oh God, the words and stuff that they said about women. I really don't want to repeat it, but I'm going to go there. Women are whores, and black women are out of their place, and black women don't have any business trying to be in a position of power, and black women going to school, you're doing that for no reason, and you're simple-minded, and the list goes on. So real. It goes on. And literally, I found myself literally getting depressed. I said, I had to take a break, because it was starting to pollute. Let me correct myself. It started to pollute my spirit, because I started feeling a special kind of way, like, is these people actually human? Talking like this? This is what my cousin is a part of? So once I finished, watching a couple of videos, I called her back. And in this story here, I'm giving you the meat of the story. I'm going in depth of what I didn't touch on the first time I told you about this testimonial. So that's why I said, if you want to teach your children, do it now. I went and called her, and I told her, I said, I know you're not a part of no BS like that. I know I'm a Christian, and certain words, profanity is not good, and I'm going to try to, like I said, mind my mouth. But I told her, I said, I know you're not part of this BS. And she got offended. And she was like, oh, you know what, you just don't know anything and all of this. And then she wound up passing the phone to him. And I said, well, why are you on the phone? I want to speak to her. And literally, he went off on me, cussed me out. called me every name out of the book. I was that wench. I was called a coon. I was called a bitch. I was called a whore. I was told I should die, and that I'm the lowest scum in the earth. And any woman that thinks like me with a so-called free, independent mind should do the same. I said, oh, my God. I said, oh, my God. I said, okay. I said, you know what, So I went back and I told my mother and I told my grandmother about this and what was going on. And I showed them. My grandmother was she couldn't believe it. She literally got sick to her stomach. She said, I know she didn't fall into this. I said, yes, ma'am, she did. And so she was like, well, how did this happen? All the who, what, when, where, why, all of this is coming to me from my family because everybody know me and her talk every single day. We talked about everything. We shared everything. So everybody is looking to me for answers that I did not have at that time. So I said, okay, you know what? I need to find out more. And I need to at least try to talk to her. Well, I tried that, and me and her always end up in squabble in an argument. And literally, she would pass the phone to him. And then it got to the point that she completely shut me out, changed her number. I couldn't talk to her no more. Okay. Later on, I found out that she was pregnant. So now we're moving into the middle, towards the middle of 2000. And, how I found out that she was pregnant with her son was by Facebook. I didn't even get a call. Nobody in the family knew that she was with child, that she was about to have a baby. And I said, really? So I got on Facebook and I said, really, you don't you don't share this with your family? Are we not family? And she was like, yeah, y'all my family, but y'all not right. Y'all evil. Y'all paganistic. Once again, the same drum beat. And I literally got so despaired about it. I literally sat in my room and cried about it. And I talked to my husband about it. My husband was like, you know what? He was like, you know what? There's nothing else you can do but pray about it. That's why I love my husband, because prayer is like warfare. Okay? And he told me to do prayer. So I said, okay, you know what? You're right. So I sat there and prayed about it. And the answer that I got was later on that day, I literally got the answer. Stop looking for the negative. You already know what they're about. Now see if you can find the opposite of it. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So I literally went on YouTube again, and I had to go through their particular videos, and I said, okay, usually YouTube, it filters out what's recommended to you, something that you constantly keep going back to, and then sometimes they, show you opposite videos of that, but it was very, very hard to find people to speak against these people. It was like and void. But, lo and behold, I found G-Man. Yeah. I found G-Man. And I found a hangout. I don't believe you were a part of it, or maybe you were. I can't think. I got to go back to the actual hangout. But the hangout was about salvation and grace. And also you guys were dealing with how Christianity started. So, and y'all were dealing with a Hebrew Israelite named Joshua, dark-skinned gentleman. I don't know if you can possibly remember him, but it was G-Man, and I think it was you. I know Faithful was in there. Because Faithful was, oh, my goodness, I thought he was going to jump through the screen.
We know,
and Beckel was in there also. And so they were going back and forth. And G-Man and Faithful coming with documents and y'all coming with scriptures and coming with this, that, and the third and all this other stuff. So I took all that teaching in. And I said, this is exactly what I need, because this is exactly what we argued about. We argued about salvation. We argued about grace. We argued about who Jesus Christ died for. We even argued about a little bit about the deity, her and I. When we briefly talked, she will only call me like once every 3 months, once every 6 months. So I used that time to try to. Yeah. And so, like I said, when I say cut off, we were cut off. Okay? She cut us off. And literally, going forward, I tried to take those teachers to her, and she told me, a woman can't teach the Bible. A woman can't possibly understand the Bible. I said, what? I said, are you serious now?
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that for the audience?
She told me in verbatim, clearly, that a woman cannot understand the Bible, that a woman cannot teach the Bible, that a woman cannot possibly understand the Bible. You must go to your husband for that. That's what I was told. And that, I'm not going to lie here, I almost grabbed her, literally, because that totally rubbed me the wrong way. And then that's when I tried to go in about the women of the Bible. How you going to say that? And it's women in the Bible. No, she rejected me once again. So I wasn't able to give her the actual facts because she wouldn't take it from me. A woman can't teach the Bible, according to her. A woman can't even understand. Screw the teaching. Understand. Okay? I literally scratched my scalp, like, really? Okay. So I did try a couple of times. I tried. I want to say I started really trying with that. I want to say late October of 2015, really up until early December, around my birthday. And I just, forget it. I said, all right, forget it. It's got to be another way. And I went back again for myself, and I looked at the Hangout again because this Hangout is sitting on so much information. So, and answer every question and refute everything that she is saying. So I got the idea. I said, okay, all right. I said, well, do you got a Bible? That's what I asked her. Oh, I don't have no Bible. I can't have no Bible in here. What? She wasn't even allowed to have a Bible in her home. In her home.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay. This is not biblical. This is nothing but pure misogynistic control. And I said, okay, can you listen to YouTube? Do you listen to YouTube? Are you allowed to? Do you have a tablet? Do you have a laptop? I mean, what do you have? Because she was living with this dude. Okay, she was living with him, and she said, yeah, I can listen to YouTube. Yeah, I can listen to YouTube. What's yeah? So what? I'm like, okay, well. I have this Hangout. I have this particular, what did I say, show. And I didn't mean to call it show, but, that's the only way I could have referred to it at that time. I said, because I didn't want to use the word ministry. She would have rejected that. So I had to be smart about it. I said, could you listen to this show? And just watch it, okay? And whatever you come to grips with, you know what, I will leave you alone about this. I will not bring this up. You know what, we can be cut off from there for point, period, blank. No more questions asked, okay? This was my last try. And I had gave that to her, I want to say maybe she didn't listen to it until New Year's Day. And
how long did she have that?
Oh, man, she had that hangout. I gave it to her, I want to say mid-December. So we probably talking about weeks maybe because, mid-December, January 1st. That's not that far from each other, but it was some distance. I didn't even get the spirit to even check back with her. She called me at 1 o'clock in the morning.
She called you.
She called me. She called me at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, and everybody in the audience know, anybody call you at 1 o'clock in the morning like that, you in the bed.
Yeah.
It's either an emergency, something done went down, or somebody done died. I hate to say it like that, but somebody done passed away. So I'm like, what's wrong? What done happened? She said, nothing. I watched that hangout. I watched that show you told me to watch. And I said, okay. She said, they don't teach that. I said, they don't teach what, baby? I said, what they don't teach? And she was like, they told us that Christianity started with the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD. She said, faithful. She kept drumming on faithful. Okay, and we all know why, because how faithful is. And she kept drumming on this faithful to God, and Deckles were refuting that. And she was like, I Googled it, and it's true. Christianity started 200 years prior, 300 years prior. And she was like, I even went one day to read the Bible at the library. Yeah, she had to go to the library.
Wow.
Okay. So I was like, okay. She was like, the disciples were called Christians in Antioch. She said Antioch wasn't at that particular time. Why are they? So I started getting the who, what, when, where, and why, and how. So I said, okay, this is going to be a long conversation. I got up out of the bed, excused myself, for my husband who had to get up for work the next morning and cracked me a pot of coffee because I knew that this was going to be a long conversation. And most of that conversation was, why is this saying that it was before 325 AD, and why are they saying that the commandments are all the 613 laws? But here it is, Jesus is saying when he was asked to what's the greatest commandment, to love to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul. And then the second commandment is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And both commandments are both of these laws hang on all the laws and the prophets. She was asking all of this. And then she abruptly stopped. She was like, you know what? I'm not done. I said, you're not done with nothing. Not done with what? You just going to stop like that? I'm trying to answer your question. She said, I'm not done. So she went back to you guys' hangout again. This girl went over this hangout 18 times. No exaggeration.
Oh, my God.
Because the information that you guys were throwing out, Hebrew Israelites do not teach. They stay away from it. Clearly. And then she did it again. She called me a month later. Now, mind you, her son is born and everything. Okay? Her baby is born and everything. Still living in this situation. And I ain't even got on the part of how she was living with this man, and he decided to bring two additional women into their relationship, calling them his wives. Yeah, I didn't even get on the polygamy part, but let me finish with the biblical, and then we'll go there. So further, she She literally called me again at 1 o'clock in the morning again. This is about, I want to say maybe about a month or two later. Because, yeah, I had my daughter in March. So around that time, mind you, I just had a baby myself. Now we into 2016. And so she calls me, and I'm like, what's wrong? What done happened? She was like, come and get me. Come and get you. Come and get me now.
Oh, no.
I'm like, where are you? Are you at home? What's going on? Did he do something to you? What happened? She was like, cuz, come and get me now. I got to go. These people done lied. I got to go. I don't have time to talk to you. Come and get me. Either you going to come and get me or I'm going to just go wherever. I said, okay, fine. Tell me where you at. Now, mind you, I live in Chicago, Illinois, which is a very dangerous city. And I'm sure everybody is aware and seeing all the murders and all the things that's been going down with Chicago. So immediately, I don't want my loved one out there. Let me get my behind up and come and get her. So I woke my husband up. I said, look, we got to go get her. Come on. He looking at me like I'm crazy. I said, look, she just called. We got to go out here, you know what I'm saying, to go get her. So we got up to go get her. We met her. She had the baby with her. And literally got in the car, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? What happened? Did something happen? Did he put his hands on you? That's what I'm thinking. That's immediately what my mind is thinking. And she was like, no. I left because they lied. Now, my cousin got a big thing with people lying to her, okay? And that's a good thing. Yeah. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you tell her a lie, don't let her find out about it because then it's on from there. So, anyway, I brought her back to my house, and I said, well, you know, you want to talk right now? You know, what's going on? Let's talk. No, I want to lay down. I said, all right, my husband told me just leave her alone. Just whatever's going on, she'll talk to you. Fine, cool. Now, this is the part that I did not reveal on the first testimonial where, you know, I didn't go in depth with. When she woke up the next morning, you know, once again, pot of coffee, I had literally called off from work the next day because I need to find out what the heck happened. And literally, she told me that basically that hangout, it did it for her because she told me, she was like, everything that you guys broke down, she went back and researched it. And then she went back and found it. Now, the things that they were teaching is kind of like being pulled out of thin air, added to and subtracted from and twisted around, and it sounds good, but it's wrong. And I said, okay, and then she was like, well, they kept saying that the white man is Esau, and you know, and he literally God hated Esau because of his color. But come to find out, Esau was hated by God because what he was going to do to his birthright. She was really pissed off about that.
Can you say that part again?
She literally found out about Esau. They literally teach Esau, yes, is the white man, okay? And that God hated Esau because of his skin color. But then when she did the research and actually read the Bible and read scholars and apologetics and all that other stuff that led her into different various things, she found out that Esau wasn't hated because of his skin color. He was hated because of what he did. He was going to do with his birthright. right? Get it together, Hebrew Israelites. It's not your skin color. It was not his skin color that God hated. It was what he was going to do. And that tripped her out because guess what? The Hebrew Israelites, if you know it, for a fact, and I had to learn for myself, if you notice when they stand out on these street corners looking ridiculous in their country cutout blankets, GMS, and your Power Ranger suits, ISUPK, and then I'm going to leave the rest alone. Purple Rain, IUIC.
I'll try my best on the left. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said that. They start out always with the white men. They got an obsession. They got an obsession with white people. They really do. And they demonize people. And literally, I think what really bothered her is the hate that she was subjected to. The hate that she knew that she was not raised with. The hate that she knows that God doesn't spew. Are you serious? So anyway, going on, because I know we're gonna go to a breakdown on this. But literally jumping forward, old dude called and he asked, had we seen her and all this other stuff, and me, I blatantly told him, nah, I ain't seen her. Nah, I don't know what she had. Nah, I ain't heard from her. Wait, ain't you supposed to know? You got her with you, constantly. You keeping her under your thumb. So how did you lose a whole human person, Mr. Smarty? That was my actual reply to him, since you know everything. How did you lose a whole woman? And a newborn child? How did you do that? That was me being sarcastic. I have a tendency of doing that.
Right.
But so anyway, he did get angry or whatever, and once again I was called every name out the book, and he even threatened me, telling me he would shoot me.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? Do what you do. I said, now if you come over here, guarantee you're not going to like the results. So I advise you to go head on. Wherever she's at, she's at. I said, you know what? Why did she leave you in the first place? That's none of your business. Okay, well then, if it's none of my business, what the hell are you calling me for? And he got stuck, and he hung up. Okay, cool. Now back to her. I said, what's really going on? I know this relationship ain't cracked up what it's cracked up to be. I can obviously see that by you wearing all these robe coverings and all this other stuff, and, you looking messy, and, you're looking all confused. What's going on? But her main thing was this biblical situation.
Yeah.
This biblical, not the outer part, this biblical situation that she was lied to the whole entire time. And literally, she was like, why are they doing this? So, honestly, dear, I really don't know. And I'm being honest. I'm being sincere now. I really don't know why these, God, give me wisdom with my tongue. I don't know why they are so hateful. Okay, I understand about slavery, and and she understood about slavery because slavery was real. But then she was like, they was going into Deuteronomy chapter 28:68, saying that was us. And then she was like, I'm reading it, and she was like, you know what? People have gone into slavery before black folks did. If that was the case, why they not in there? And she was like, and this is where I got this from. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, don't say black people. Okay? And don't say that. Stop pulling stuff out of thin air. And that's another thing that egged her.
because they were implementing stuff, and it was confusing. I mean, some people already have a hard time reading the Bible and fully understanding. That's why you got the NIV now. So you can probably get a little bit better understanding, but they only deal with the King James Version because they know a lot of people don't really understand the thus, thee, and thou, and all that other stuff. And so that really adds her. We in the kitchen, in my sit-in kitchen, having a true dialogue and going through these questions. She got so obsessed with that hangout. Once again, I leave out the kitchen. She right back on the laptop watching it again. I said, "Look, enough. You already made the step to leave." She looked at me.
Wow.
She looked at me, and I don't know. And you may not believe me, but my eyes ain't lying to me. She gave me a look like, if you touch me again, I'm going to lay you out. Leave me alone because I'm not done with it.
You know what?
So,
just to pause you right there, I just had to say this. You know, sometimes people are coming out of trouble that was so deep that they almost have, you know, it's almost like the truth to them, it literally is their daily bread and living water. I mean, that's what it really is like. I mean, even Jesus ended up telling his disciples, you know, he said, "Listen, I have food that you know not of." You know, and so I think there's really something to be seen there. But go ahead. I didn't want to disturb your flow. You know, I just want to say that.
That's
but go
okay.
ahead.
That's purely okay because you are exactly right. And literally, because I talked to her earlier today, and well, pretty much we're back to talking every day. You know, about 3-4 times a day, and I love it. Literally, and I asked her, "Do I have permission? You know, can I tell them this part?" Because I left it out the last time, and she was like, "Yeah, go ahead," because people need to know that the Holy Spirit is. Now, I know people like, "Oh, you know, she, you know, probably jumped and shot all over the room." No. This was a subtle thing. And she watched it hang out again in tears. In tears. Those tears were of pain. Those tears were of being deceived. Those tears of being lied to, and then to step into redemption. And I guess it was giving her something. I really, because I'm not her, and I'm still trying to work with her to at least come and talk to you guys. But, you know, I guess that will come. But literally, she just started hitting the table. How are these people going out here constantly every single day, lying? She literally knocked the cup over the floor. And I'm like, "Look, you got to calm down. I understand, but that was my coffee mug that you just broke. That didn't matter to her. And I understand. And I'm sensitive when God deals with the soul and the spirit. You don't know what reaction is going to come out.
Amen.
You don't know how that's going to come out. And all I seen was tears. And literally, this girl got on her knees and telling the Father, "I repent. I am sorry. Please, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't mean this. I didn't mean that. I was wrong. Please, Father, forgive me." And then she got stuck with, "Please, Father, forgive me." And then literally, I'm thinking she's, you know, got to, you know, go into, you know, whatever. But that's the only thing that came out of her mouth was, "Father, please forgive me. Father, please forgive me." That went on for about an hour. me and my mom, my mama was like, you know what? Let God do what he going to do. Step back. Leave it alone. Balled up like a. You ever seen a person ball up like they stomach hurt or like a fetus? That's how tight that she was. And then after that part, hey, it was like a whole new look on her face. The next day, she literally got up and started hitting the internet looking for jobs, looking to return back to school because she gave up schooling for this man. This girl could have been she was supposed to have been a nurse last year. She gave up she was at her last part of her nursing. She gave that up. She literally stopped going to school out of this mess. Then on top of it, she accepted 2 additional women in her home, and they calling themselves this man's wife. And then she wasn't even legally his wife. So guess what? That's shocking. You ain't legally married. You ain't went before God. And ISUPK even taught that marriage starts with sex. No, it does not. I'm going to say that again. Marriage does not start with sex, Fatty. Told you that. Where he got that from, I don't know. But as everything else...
I know where he got that from. Basically, now, biblically, marriage starts with, if you really want to be biblical, marriage starts with covenant or commitment, right? Something that's binding. But what they end up getting that from is, in the Old Testament, there was a little story where someone had went and had sex with a woman against her will. And because of that, the guy went and paid the girl's father a dowry. When you do that, you're basically saying, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and marry her now too, because I've deflowered her. I've had sex with her. That's why I'm going to go ahead and pay you this dowry. So basically they link sexual union with marriage union, and so they'll use scriptures like that to bolster their doctrine and theology. But that's the reason why. But I didn't want to disturb your flow, but I just wanted to say that.
No, that's totally fine, because I just thought it was just them being perverted and nasty, which I still think they are. And long and behold, when I think of GMS, I just think they're disgusting. But anyway, that's a whole nother bread. So anyway, and then she got to looking back on all the things that she went through. So that was pain that she was dealing with, not to mention coming into the real true word of God. So she's in a traumatic zone. She was in a traumatic zone at the time. And the only thing that she thought at that time instantly, I got to get up. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'm like, slow down. Within a week, I want to say a week or two, she was back in school. Applied for her financial aid and everything, got back in school. She was like, cuz, give me about a month. I'm going to be out of your house and into my own apartment. Well, guess what? She did just that and more.
Wow.
Got her baby in daycare, got herself back in school, got herself back at work, back to the life that she normally was supposed to have, that was interrupted by this garbage. And then on top of it, she was like, you know what? She read about the story where Jesus literally exercised what's that man's name? The man with the
Legion.
7 demons, Legion. Yeah.
Legion. Yeah.
And it clearly tells you when those demons are exercised, that house must be filled. And immediately she read that, so she read up on that, and then literally, and I'm just paraphrasing here because, I don't, want to take up too much time, but literally she literally it's like I got to get spiritually filled again. I got to find a church home. Come on, let's go. Let's
Amen.
go. So I'm like, well, baby, it's only Friday, but they are having a Bible service at my church. I wasn't even going to go because I was going to do something else. I was going to do something else with kids or whatever. But I told my husband, I talked to him about it or whatever, and literally he was like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do that. I got them. Go ahead and take care of that. So we went to my church, New Covenant Missionary Baptist Church, which my pastor is Brother Stephen John Thurston. Love him to death. Love him.
Right.
And literally we went there, and he was preaching, long and behold, on salvation.
Amen.
Oh, my God.
I could imagine how that went.
Oh, salvation, so. Oh, salvation. I said, God, you are right on time, like he always is. But anyhow, so that even heightened it more. And I thought that it was just going to be a regular Bible study, which wound up turning into a sermon, which wound up turning into a complete church service. And he opened the doors of the church. And my cousin went down there and said, I need Christ right now. I got him, but I want him complete. I want him to have me, and I want him. I've never heard nobody say it like that. Like ownership. Ownership of Christ, and Christ own me. Oh, man, it was deep. And so literally I'm like, wow, okay. And literally walked down there and got saved. Until this day, my cousin is sanctified, holy filled with the blood of Christ. Love Jesus to his fullest extent. Recognize his deity. Know who he is, not just a portion of him, but all of him. Because in her mind, what she told me today, Christ, I'm all of Christ, and Christ is all of me. We together on it. I'm like, okay, cool. Y'all together. And literally, no, not right now. She's not with anybody. She was thinking about experience with that, but no, right now, because she said, God is my husband right now. God is my husband
Amen.
right now.
Amen.
She don't even want nobody right now.
Wow.
God is her husband right now, boo.
Wow.
So she has her own apartment, with her child, and they doing well. They doing so well.
That story,
yeah.
that was just refreshing. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to make this a very special kind of, YouTube video when I take this down and put it up to my YouTube channel. I think I'm gonna talk first to try to explain to people what they're about to hear, because I literally looked at the clock, and you preached for almost an hour. I mean,
wow.
that was a testimony sermon, and what I did was, as you were giving your the testimony of your friend, I was typing in little clip-it notes here. Now, at the very end, right before I open up the calls and things like that, I was going to read these snippet notes. But, let me just say something.
Okay.
One thing, I could really relate to her of her place that she's in right now. That she's in a place where it's like, I know that I know that I know. Like, I'm sold out. Like, that's where she's at. That's the way I got after so many months, and even almost like over a year, of when I was rocked to my core about a little documentary called Zeitgeist back in 2007. And there was this guy named Keith Truth Thompson, who, to me, from my eyes, came out of nowhere and refuted the whole thing like it was nothing. And when I saw that, it was like all my misunderstandings, things that I thought was, just on threads of hope, was actually on a foundation cornerstone. I mean, from there on, I was sold out to what I had already believed now, but just even stronger. It was basically because of that I became unshakable, and that's the power of the truth, especially when it's embodied in a person. And I believe that's why when she was watching that hangout over and over and she couldn't get off it and she started pounding, is because, there's a difference between truth and Christian truth. Truth is just some abstract kind of thing, but Christian truth is a person. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth
and the life.
And the life. Truth is a person. This is why Jesus said, to know me. He said, this is eternal life, that they may know me. They may know me. That's what Christ said. And it just moves me to tears inside, because there's nothing more worse than being lied to about something that you poured your heart and soul in. You know what I'm saying? And I think people miss that. It's more than just I took on this belief. No, it's I separated myself from my family. I separated myself from my friends. I stopped doing things that, I just wanted to do. Going to school. I stopped my life for something that, basically was a lie. And those kind of things will rock you to your core once you find out that it's false.
Yes.
And I can understand why someone like that would all of a sudden cling to Christ all the more. And another thing that you said that I believe that really stuck out was she had a really hard time. Like, it was really gut-wrenching for her to accept this kind of doctrine of hatred, that God hates, certain people or white people or, their Esau and things like that. To her, that really kind of like turned her stomach upside down. It's like the Bible said, where your conscience is seared with a hot iron.
Yeah, the way she described that to me was
that process.
Basically, sitting there, she knew something was egging her that it was wrong, but it was being shoved and pushed. And if you ask any question, because, really the women were to be silent. And literally she was like, while they were talking about the women and listening to all this hate spew, she really opened up and said it was almost like giving a fruit full of nails and razor blades.
Yeah. When I could definitely see that, when I don't understand how, I don't understand how, people could talk about women like that, and then the women just not have a hard time accepting that and hearing that. I mean, you almost got to deprogram yourself just to accept or to go in to that movement. Now, I do know that not all Israelites are created equal. I know that ISUPK and GMS are a bit more extreme, but at the same time, it's almost like the other camps that may not be so outwardly appearing to be like that toward women. It's interesting because once you just continue to peel back the layers, you find out that, they kind of believe the same thing about women in terms of a generalized subserviency, right? But so and therefore, so they're a lot more nice about it. Okay, but there was just certain things that I wanted to ask you. I had these set of questions I wanted to ask you, and I hope that the audience is listening. And I had a series of 7 questions I wanted to ask you. Or I think it was 8. And question number one was, well, I believe you already answered this, but I'm just going to ask them all anyway. Question number one was, how did you first discover the issues behind the relationships between Israelite men and women?
It was really, how did I discover the relationship? It was really through her. It was really through her, and then a combination of what I seen on YouTube. And then not only that, I'm kind of jumping a little bit. Listening to some of the women's stories, I actually took time
out. You heard more than one.
Yeah. I would have to say, and no lie, I would have to estimate between maybe 100 and maybe 120, and all of them were traumatic. Not one was good. Not one. Not even with the model.
Right. It's funny you mention that because there was a YouTube clip I was going to play tonight, but I believe that you spoke so good that we don't need to play it. And it was just a little 14-minute clip. I was going to play a snippet of it, but I'll just tell it to you. There was a girl, there was a woman that's on YouTube, and, I'm pretty sure that we all remember this woman. Her name was Delilah. She had made this video about 8 years ago talking about, women drop the ball. Now, when you look on her channel, there's only 4 videos. That women drop the ball thing was her first one. After that, there were 3 other videos that were all made a few months ago. So that means she made one video, took an 8-year hiatus, and came back out of nowhere. And she made this video about how for about, I think, maybe 8 or 9 years, she was in a Black Hebrew Israelite cult. She said that when she got into it, at first, they were just saying, hey, join a real culture, your true culture, be with your people, this is the real truth about the Bible, these are why these curses are on you, and all of a sudden, and she said she came from a little middle class kind of neighborhood, and she was in college, and yet she was getting caught up in this Israelite stuff. And eventually, she decided to welcome herself into it. And immediately, now, she said later on that I guess all the brothers do this, but the moment the women come in, they kind of put this hustle game and say, well, you need a husband. It looks a little odd for you to be single. And so they hooked her up with somebody. And she said, the quality of men were basically just street thugs, really, that just had Bible verses to empower themselves. She said they couldn't hold jobs a lot of times. They had multiple wives that they could take care of, and they often had, child support payments and things. And she said, yes, she stopped doing the things that she loved to do. She stopped going to basketball games, movies. She said that was of the devil. She could never wear fitting clothes anymore, a lot of things. And then eventually her dad ended up saying, what are you doing? What are you getting into? And she kind of removed herself from her family. And it was in those moments that she realized how dark it was. She said they would open up in Hebrew, and they would pray in Hebrew, and then the guy there would be someone that would go on about 3 or 4 hours. And she said that, a lot of times when they spoke about women, they said that all men are to be called Lord because, Christ is head of the church. And also you are to obey every man as if they were your husband, but, not exclusively your husband, because the man is over the woman. If there was any kind of arguments or objections, people would just have scriptures thrown at them. They really wouldn't try to talk or reason or anything. There was a time where a guy ended up preaching, and he ended up saying some things that a woman didn't agree with. And so she was basically yelled at, and they wanted to pray for her and said, you have the Jezebel spirit, and, you need to drop what you're saying. And eventually she didn't, and so she was excommunicated from the community. She was pushed out. And that's the way they were treating people. And she said that contrasted with the whole notion of how she thought about how she got in the first place. Oh, come on in, you know, here you're accepted, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like night and day. Maybe they were so into their doctrine that they actually couldn't see that. Now, eventually she said that, I'm going off the top of my head here, but long story short, she eventually left. I forgot what the reason was, but it had something to do with, I believe, the man bringing in 2 other wives. And when that happened, there was something that transpired from there, and she basically just left. You know, she realized that it was just totally wrong. And she said she really couldn't see how wrong it was until she left. And so, you know, these stories that people say, the reason why I have an issue is because I can't find this stuff in the Bible. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through some little scriptures. If you're an Israelite woman out there and you just happen to be listening to this and you end up wanting to just stop the show or just X out the screen, I'm going to ask you to just stay with us for a few minutes. I just want to give you something to think about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a few scriptures. I'm just going to point out some things, and I'm going to see if these kind of women would be able to do what they're doing in the Bible today in the Hebrew Israelite movement.
Okay.
So there's this scripture here where it says in 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 2, it says, therefore, an overseer must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, sober-minded, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, able to teach others. This is to be the office of a bishop. He's only to have one wife. I wonder if that kind of reality would be with the Israelites today, because so far they have many wives. So this kind of polygamy can't be found in the New Testament. If you're an Israelite woman and you're listening to this, just trying to give you something to think about. Also, the Apostle Paul held women in high regard, and many of the letters to the churches, he greeted specific women by name. So if you go to Romans 16, verse 6, it says, greet Mary, who has worked hard for you. And then in verse 12 it says, greet those workers in the Lord, Tryphena and Tryphosa. Greet the beloved Persis, who has worked hard in the Lord. You have Colossians 4, verse 15. It says, give my greetings to the brothers at Laodicea and to Nympha and the church in her house. Also, you have Philippians 4, verses 2 and 3. It says, I entreat Iodia and I entreat Syntyche to greet in the Lord. Yes, I ask you also, true companion, help these women who have labored side by side with me in the gospel together with Clement and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are written in the book of life. Now, you know, for those of you who don't know, Clement was an early church father. We have his writings.
Yes.
So for you guys to say that we should not listen to the church fathers, then I guess you would totally disagree with Paul, who says that Clement's name is written in the book of life. Also, back to these women, it says that they went side by side with Paul in the gospel together, with Clement as well. Now, a lot of times when I see the Power Rangers on their Saturday blocks on the Sabbath preaching, I don't see women. I don't. You have to ask yourself, why is it in the first century church, why is it these women are out there preaching the gospel and they're helping out, and yet today you don't see that. You see them covered up, and, well, you don't see them at all because they're covered up and they're away somewhere. You have Philemon chapter 1, verse 2. It says this, and Aphia, our sister, and Archippus, our fellow soldier, and the church in your house. You know, you keep noticing that these women, because of these women turning their houses into sanctuaries where people could come on in and worship, that's the reason why they keep getting named. It says that Paul addresses these women. Say it again.
That's the way they used to do it, in the home. In the home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, and you know what, just I wanted to say this little snippet before I continue. You know, science has actually, discovered that women have deep empathy with their environment. So if the environment itself is stressed, it'll actually have an effect on the woman. This is the reason why they say that when you put a bunch of women together in one house, they may have cycles at different times of the month, but the more that they live together, all of a sudden they begin to have cycles at the same time. That's because there's something about their body that responds to the environment. So it's no wonder that women, when they kind of see a messy room, messy house, they just clean it up. Because there's something that the environment that they're connected to. If the environment is stressed, they're stressed. So therefore they try to home make, because so now that there's a lot deeper to that, but I just wanted to throw that in there. But anyway,
you're right.
It says that right. So it says that Paul addresses these women as co-workers and they clearly serve the Lord to benefit the whole church. So once again, you got, Philippians 4:3, Colossians 4, verse 15. It says that offices created in the early church, they were basically to fit the needs of the body. And it says, although many modern churches interchange the positions of elder and deacon, really there's actually a deaconess. And that's actually in Romans chapter 16, verse 1. It says, I commend to you our sister Phoebe, a deaconess of the church of Synthre. I probably said that wrong, but that is a office title, right? That's a little a title there. It says deacons were appointed to serve in a physical capacity as the needs arose. So you have Acts chapter 6, verse 2 and 3. It says, and the 12 were summoned to the full number of the disciples and said, is it not right that we should give up the preaching of the word of God to serve tables? Therefore, brothers, pick out from among you 7 men of good repute, full of the Spirit and of wisdom, right? And it just goes on and on. So that's just the role of, what someone would do for if you were a deacon or deaconess. It says there is no clear prohibition against women serving in this way. Right? And so it reads Acts 16:1. But it says there is no scriptural precedent that forbids women from also serving as worship leaders, youth ministers, or children's directors. The only restriction is that they do not assume the role of a spiritual authority over adult men. Since the concern in Scripture appears to be in the issue of spiritual authority rather than function, any role does not bestow such a spiritual authority over adult men where permissible. So another thing I really wanted to point out here, and I hope you guys are still listening, there's this verse in Acts, I believe it was chapter 18. No. It wasn't there. It was a verse where it was Acts. I'm going to look this up because this is what really got me. Okay. Yeah, here it is. This is Acts chapter 18, verses 24 through 26. And it basically says this. It says, now a Jew named Apollos, an Alexandrian by birth, an eloquent man, came to Ephesus, and he was mighty in the Scriptures. This man had been instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in spirit, he was speaking and teaching accurately things concerning Jesus. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because you're probably wondering, okay, well, who's Apollos? If you want to know who Apollos is Apollos is a man that was taught by a husband and wife, right? Or I think that they're a husband and wife. They might be two women, because I have to find out if they were both women. It says this in verse 26. And he began to speak out boldly in the synagogue. But when Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they took him aside and explained, or in other words, they taught to him the way of God more accurately. Now, I just want to kind of let that sit there for a minute. So here you have two women. Forgive me for saying that they're husband and wife. I apologize about that. Here you have two women that basically kind of just, waited for him to be done with the synagogue. And when he was done doing his work, they basically took him aside and they kind of explained to him the faith more accurately. Now, that flies in the face of anything that Hebrew Israelites say that, women can't teach and they can't understand the Bible and they're to be taught by men. And what do you do with that?
Right.
And so, like I said, now there were other things that I wanted to really get into, but because this is a radio show and, I do want to still dedicate an hour and a half to my radio callers, I'm just going to go ahead and relinquish my time because I think I've made my point clear enough. I was going to try to go into the differences between how Muhammad treated women and Jesus treated women, but like I said, it's 10:27, and I really did want to open up the phone lines for an hour and a half just to hear, what the audience might have to say. I've been trying to get better at trying to keep things precise with the radio. An hour and a half with us, and then an hour and a half with the people listening. So if you're listening right now, we have 20 callers on the line. If you actually do want to call in and say something, you are free to hit the number 1. Once again, the number that you want to call in is 602-753-1949. And from there, you'll simply just press the number 1, and I will see a blue icon, which will let me know that that's you that wants to come on in and speak. So we have 20 callers, and so far we have 2 people that want to say something. I see a 404, and I see an 860 number. So I'm going to go with the 404 number first. I'm just going to put this here. And 404, you're live on the air.
Yeah, this is Schwarzman. Y'all want to say something to you, right?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
How you doing? What's your problem when you keep banging on Israelites like that?
I'm sorry.
Well, if you want to be honest, you know what? How about this? I don't think I have to speak this time. I think I'd rather let my guests kind of talk. Jerry?
Okay, could you repeat your question, please?
I know, this is for him. I want to know, because he's doing videos, and you're trying to demonize Israelites, right? And I admit there's men that do wickedness, but what I'm saying to you is, if you're truly about that book, as you claim to be, like you more righteous than anybody else, then you shouldn't have respect to persons. Because I can bang on you too. Because you celebrate Halloween, don't you?
Nope.
No.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the
But anyway, I think you're missing the point of what I'm doing.
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
We're talking about women.
No, I'm talking to the brother.
No, we're talking about women. No, I'm talking to you.
Hold on. Cherry, it's cool. Cherry, it's cool. Yeah, to answer your question, no, I'm not, quote-unquote, banging on Israelites. Anytime that I see something that is of a deep concern, when I see actual souls that are hurting, people who have, women who have actually dedicated their lives and given up the things that, they wanted to do with their lives and things, and to literally be lied to. That causes me to actually get up and show the differences between what Israelites try to share in the Bible and what Christians show in the Bible. And so if you want to try to interpret that as me simply just getting up on a soapbox and just demonizing Israelites and just talking negative, if that's the way you want to interpret that, I can't stop you.
No,
but, I don't have, I really don't have any kind of time to do something that fruitless.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go ahead and do something and point something out, I want it to be like worthwhile, or at least it's a real concern to people.
Yeah, let me say something. Listen, I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to be the pointer, just don't use Israelites as your beat up dummy. Use Christians too. Okay, like I just asked you. You put on your post that you're going to be Edward Scissorhand next year, so I take it that you believe in Halloween. According to the scriptures, it tell you in James, don't be a friend of this world. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to be this noble man of righteousness, as you claim to be, don't have respect to persons. If you're going to, listen, if you're going to bang on Israelites, you bang on Christians too. Okay? That's all I'm saying. You'll be a hypocrite.
You know what? You actually, you know what? For a small snippet, like you actually do have a point there about calling out things that are wrong with Israelites. Because when it comes to the Christianity, and anyone knows this on my channel, this is like not anything new. When it comes to in-house debates, we do that all the time. Anybody can just look at my channel and see that. So, yeah, of course, I would never sit there and just pretend that, people in my Christianity camp have no problems and we don't do sinful things and we don't need to get called out. Please, none of us are above reproach. You know what I mean? So, and about the whole Edward Scissorhand thing, yeah, I really did say that, you know what, in 2017, I did want to kind of like, dress up as Edward Scissorhands, at the elementary school where I work at, just for fun. But, do I celebrate Halloween? No. And to tell you the truth, I haven't dressed up in Halloween since I was in middle school. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that I just don't do.
So
but, I do see what you mean. But what I wanted to say was, if you call once again, I wanted to say again, if you call what I'm doing bashing, then that is something that is coming from you.
Now,
and I believe that.
Let me say this right quick. Let me say this. The reason why I'm getting on about this, okay, because there were many, many Israelites, okay, I know them, that were incredible husbands and treated women. I'll give a good example, and you can talk to him about this. The guy that run IUIC, his name is Nate, he's been married. I remember when he first came into school, he's been married to the same wife since he came in there, and he treat her like a pearl, okay? And there's a lot of brothers that treat their wives like a pearl. The brother Marshall that headed it, he was married for over 30-something years, treated his wife like a pearl. So when you do what you're doing, you're demonizing the whole movement. Like I'm saying, if you're going to speak on negative brothers, go to that brother, bring the brother on the show, or whoever you're saying, do that or done it. Bring your evidence, because what you're doing, you think you're doing something noble, but you're really doing something wicked, because you're using a brush and you're painting a picture about everybody. You got everybody thinking that all Israelites were these tyrants that used to beat women up. I have a wife. I've been good to my wife. I took care of my wife. There's many brothers that were married. People I've been with take care of their wives. Not every Israelite brother is a tyrant. Don't use little certain situations that are bad situations and balloon it like everybody's like that. That's why I said don't have respect to persons. And if you're gonna do it, just don't bang on Israelites. If you see that going on in your Christian belief, you pull that out too. If you're gonna be noble, be noble. That's all I'm saying to you.
You know what? I'm glad that you actually said that. You know why? Because this whole night, matter of fact, days ago, I was anticipating for someone to come on and actually say those very words just to say this. Anyone can go back and rewind the tape and listen to this whole thing so far, and I have never once said or encouraged any kind of thought to say that every Israelite man is a savage with his woman. Do I believe that in my heart? Hex to the no. Matter of fact, there's a friend of mine, who was going through some hard times, and I was pretty much giving her some counsel on things, and she had told me that on every Sabbath there is an Israelite husband and wife team that goes and visits her and sees how she's doing, and teach her things, and of course she's not really like into the Israelite movement, but they go and see her, just like I go and see her. And I did not stop them. I didn't, preach against them. Nope. I know that there are good Israelite men out there, but that's not what I'm focusing on. So you're wondering if, Matt, you're focusing on the Israelites. Well, Matt, why aren't you focusing on, the Christians? I mean, don't they have bad marriages and stuff like that too? Well, yeah, they do, but there's a bit of a difference. The difference is, when it comes to Christian marriages or whatever or things like that, it's generalized. You won't hear any kind of trend of Christians going to churches and then their families separate and then they demonize certain races of people and then they never see them again and they can't dress the way they want to dress and they can't. You don't hear that kind of caliber, or you don't see those kind of trend of issues go on in just a general Christian church. You don't. Now, are there issues there? Yes, there are issues there, of course, but there seems to be some type of theme, some type of pattern that you see in the Hebrew Israelite movement, and that's the reason why it raised my eyebrow. Now, if I would have seen the same kind of pattern and complaints kind of come up with Christian churches and people separating and, you can't be in this church here and you get out. And, if I'd have seen that, then, okay, I would have definitely said something. But this seems to be an issue that people are really kind of talking about, and it has a pattern, But that's all I really wanted to say, about that. I could have said a lot more, and I probably forgot to answer a few more of his questions. But I'm going to continue to go down the line. And once again, I see a 860 and a 252, and all the rest of you guys are just listening. So I'm going to go to 860.
What's
860, you live on the air.
What's your name again?
My name's ssoreal.
Oh yeah. Hey, what's
hey.
ssoreal? Hey, ssoreal. Am I sound clear? Hope I'm not too far from the mic. Can you hear me good?
No, you're good. You're good.
Is this a guest you talking to tonight? What's your name, Miss? Hello. Okay. Matthew, before I ask anything, what is tonight's show particularly? I just tune in. My apologies.
Say that again?
Yeah, tonight's show is Israelites and the Black woman. And so basically, Sister Cherry just came on and she began to speak about, one particular story that was very close to her that involved her cousin. And also just, she spoke about hundreds of other Israelite women that she had listened to that had this kind of reoccurring theme of, negative kind of relationships based on, the scriptures that they would use in the Bible, and it would create this kind of, uniform kind of environment with all Israelites, even though not all Israelite men are bad or, negative or demeaning to women, but there is, a bit of a pattern, an outcry, a silent outcry from, women in the Hebrew Israelite movement of things that, they just don't find favorable, whether it's the polygamy, whether it's, certain things like you can't understand the Bible and you are not to teach the Bible. I mean, just a whole ton of things. I'm sure that Cherry could definitely talk to you about. I don't even know why I'm talking for her. But, yeah, we decided to explore that. But, Cherry, if you wanted to, talk with him, you could. I'm going to step out the way.
Let me say this before she continues. That did you know these same Israelites, they're so heavily into the King James version of the Bible to the point where at times say, they take everything seriously, literally, to the point where they said they think or probably are engaged where they want to have children as what they call virgins to take in the kingdom to have fornication with and all types of nonsense. I mean, if people look at some of them that's on the street corners that might not, exude this behavior, or really, if we ask a question, they keep it honest. But really, truly, it's like another form of haven to these people, that sit there and take only their knowledge from one book by a so-called character. That people really look to the history of what this character is. You would not sit there and take this seriously going for that book. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really. Yeah. But my point is this, that you're going to have Israelites call in and try to fight you because you are exposing their bullshit.
Yeah.
Make it seem this is all the good, all be all. It's not the first woman came out about it. There was another woman, and people know this from what Brother Plight presented on one of his broadcasts, that I'm not sure if he's still taking care or something. I'm not sure what the situation is, but she's going through the same bullshit from another well-known Israelite in the circle. You know what I'm saying? So really, truly, these people need to clean themselves up. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, it's a shame for any woman to be serious that these dudes have more than one wife. And you need to show so real on these Muslims next. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to go all how to this, because a lot of people need to know to get. No, it's a real thing. I'm going to say a thing. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we are still hurting as people, and we have to really take the real bad before we could take any of the fucking good. Because there's not really much good in any of this shit. When the bad outweigh the good, then really true, you have to leave it alone.
May I address you? Brother, I thank you for saying what you're saying, and you saying the words that I would like to say, but restraint. I totally agree with you. Literally, a lot of them get offensive, as you can see with the first caller. See, they want to sweep this under the rug and say, "Oh, well, all of us ain't like that." Okay, yeah, true. There's a strong possibility that a lot of Hebrew Israelite men are not like that. However, let's look at the teaching. What is being taught inside of those particular camps? And the
polygamy is being taught.
Polygamy is being taught. Basically oppressing the woman is being taught. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying for women to gun-ho and kick down your man and just, abuse him and literally, treat him like he's not a human being. I'm not saying that. And my cousin's testimony that I had spoke about, I'm not using that as a platform to do that. But what I'm pointing out, why these men are out here talking about they're so righteous and that they're so for God, but then you sit here and you treat this woman like she's nothing, and you sit up here and you call this Tahar, who is the leader of GMS. I literally heard him, and excuse me, so surreal. I literally watched his video calling women, "You black bitch." More than 4 times, over and over, and they repeated it like they literally repeated it like it was a rites of passage to literally dumb down and to literally trample on black women. Let me tell you something. To these Hebrew Israelites who claim that the black woman or a woman is your enemy, was Harriet Tubman your enemy when she helped free a lot of the slaves? Was Sir John Uchu? Was she your enemy? Was Mary Magdalene your enemy? Woman that's in the Bible. Was Deborah your enemy? Was Mary, mother of Jesus, your enemy? Was Elizabeth your enemy? Come on now, let's keep it real. How dare you?
You know what?
I'm not done yet. Let me finish. How dare you? Let's go to the civil rights actions where your grandmothers and foremothers sat up here with men and walked with Dr. King and kept the back of Marcus Garvey and walked for your and marched for your dumb ass. Are those women your enemies? Were those women your enemies then who allowed you to sit up here and sacrifice their life so you can sit up here and say the dumb stuff that you saying? How dare you? Yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, I'm angry. I'm pissed. How dare you? And then you want to stand up here and call yourself a man of God? You're a blasphemy lie. Jesus showed compassion to men and women. What about the woman that was a Samaritan woman? The woman at the well. What about Mary Magdalene, who was found in adultery, and he did not stone her, but he had the right to, but he didn't. He told them, he said literally, any man here who has no fear, let him cast the first stone. Well, I'm telling you niggas now, if you ain't got no sin in your doggone backyard, cast the first fucking stone.
Hey,
just and just to add it, right? And just to add a closing thought.
Before I add it,
I'm sorry, ssoreal. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. I had to let that go. I've been holding that in for a long time. God forgive me for the profanity I just said. I'm sorry, but I'm tired.
Amen.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you lying Hebrew Israelites coming out here, and even Muslims too, and anybody that claims that they love God, but you hate the people that you see every day, and you beat and stomp on your woman, and you literally tell her that she's nothing, that they can feel like God don't even love her. How dare you? You ain't got nothing to say to me, nigga.
You know,
one thing also to be clear, a lot of these dudes don't really respect a black woman, but really they don't want to deal with a black woman. They really want to deal with someone that's non-black. And Carm said these are also Israelites, these Latinos, these white women, and we go on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to black, they're gonna treat it and push it down to the dirt, all the way down. They ain't gonna behave like this with all other women.
And that's a form of self-hatred, you know. And one thing that I will say, just to contrast, you know, what Awar came on and said, you know, he tried to stick up for, you know, the Israelite men. You know, the fact is, you would be, you know, you can look on any video, or you can walk down your downtown area, and you could see Black Hebrew Israelite men dress up like ninjas, and they will parade themselves about talking about black women, but you will be hard pressed. But you will be hard pressed to actually find a preacher or a pastor inside of a church call women those kind of names.
Yes.
I just wanted to share that contrast with y'all. And you know what, brother, we're definitely gonna have to talk again. I do have one other caller, and if no one else calls after him, I'll definitely.
There's an update. There's live coverage right now of the FBI and CIA raid on the Comfort Hebrew Israelite headquarters.
Yes, I've received a Facebook about that. Yeah, I still don't know exactly what's going on there, but you know, maybe we will cover that.
They're not doing what they told, so the European man that they sit there respect and fear, come check them.
Yeah, well, thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you, brother.
And brother, thank you for coming on and definitely sharing your thoughts, man. I really definitely appreciate it. So
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go ahead to the.
I'm so sorry. I want to apologize to you and your audience. I didn't mean to snap out like that, but that was a inner me that was been holding back for a long time. I'm sorry. I am. I do apologize.
I mean, and
you know,
hey, and you know, it's all forgiveness. It's all love. You know, the two things. One, we all got things we're working on, and two, we all need forgiveness for something. You know.
Yes.
So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead to the next caller, and it is 252. I'm going to go to 252, you're live on the air.
What's up, ssoreal? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, sis? Where you calling from again? I forget what it's 252 is.
It's
Where?
everywhere and nowhere, all at the same time. Everywhere and nowhere.
Hey, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is Sister Nobody. You know, let me start it off by saying, let me ask one question. I wonder what this is. I understand trauma. And one of the things throughout history is the violence against women and children. That's throughout history. So I can't point to any religious faith and say it's because of that faith that these women have gone through this. But the funny thing is,
right,
you're seeking out 100 Israelite women to speak about the violence within their religious faith. But there are thousands and thousands of Christian women, so-called Christian women, who are being victims of violence all the time. So much so that they have written books about how the verses have been taken out of context. Now, how can something that says that if a woman is raped, she is to marry her rapist, that is taken out of context? How do you take that out of context? It says what it says, correct?
Yeah,
so,
it does say what it says. The issue is
and one thing, hold up. And the one thing the Bible, because this is where the Israelites is getting their, they're getting their same shit from the Bible, just like Christians are getting their shit from the Bible. And the one thing it says, submit to your husband. And that's what the sister said when she first came on. She submit to her husband. So, again, you're speaking about a book that is violent towards women. Either way you want to look at it, if they're taking it out of context and all you Christians have to get together and write books on saying, hey, you're taking these verses out of context, when it literally says, this is what it says when it comes to women. Matter of fact, Solomon said, trust no woman. There is no righteous woman amongst us. That's what Solomon wrote in Proverbs. So,
can you read that a little slower?
No, I'm not going to read it a little slow. I stated what I said. Solomon stated in Proverbs.
Well, I mean, I wanted you to do that for a reason.
Amongst us. That's what Solomon wrote out of that fake-ass Bible. So I'm wondering, what is the sister
among who?
When she find out that the Bible is a lie, what is she going to do then? She going to hoot and holler and scream, and what is she going to believe in then? And another thing I want to say, you have Christian women abused. Matter of fact, you want to speak about clothing. You walk up in the goddamn church today, and half of them got their cleavage and ass hanging the fuck out. So I guess that's acceptable. Matter of fact, what else? You want to talk about polygamy? When it comes to the Israelites, talk about the cheating and the misconduct of the husbands of the damn churches, of the Christian churches, starting families with other church members in the fucking same churches their wives go to. So if we're going to speak about misconduct, let's speak about misconduct of men folks all across the board, because it doesn't make any sense. You cannot have a hatred for the Israelites when you are of the Christian faith, quote unquote, and there are thousands of women suffering from violence due to that fucking same King James Bible. So that's all I'm going to say. And cussing, I look at it like this. Well, you're speaking a language that has cussed your people. Plain and simple. It's a daily cuss to your people because you know not your original tongue. And another thing I'm going to say, in the name of Christianity, half of a nation of people were enslaved, raped, tortured, and relocated to a land they did not know in the name of fucking Christianity. So
can I ask you a question, sister? Can I ask you a quick question?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
In regarding to slavery, okay, and it was stated, and you can find it in the history books, that our own people literally helped sell us into slavery. Who made that deal? Who made that deal? Was it the black woman that made that deal? Was it the black woman that made that deal? No. I don't think so. And then to correct you, I didn't seek out these 100 women. These women sought me out.
It doesn't even fucking matter. At the end of the fucking day,
they sought me out. It's a difference when you go to look for somebody, but it's a difference when somebody comes to look for you, and when they're looking and seeking for help. That's the difference. I didn't go and look for those women. Those women looked to find me, and I took on the course, and I took on the challenge to try to help them the best way I could. So let me correct you on that. That's not how it went down at all. And I understand that some people, and maybe you are, I guess obviously you're one of those persons that don't believe in the Bible. Well, that's your affair. However, you do have women that hold strongly to this Bible. You do have women that hold strongly to God. And if you don't, and I'm going to be bold and blunt, then this conversation has nothing to do with you. It does not involve you.
Well,
because you must be a believer. You must be a believer. And if you're not a believer, I mean, really, I really don't know really what to say to you. If anything, I feel sorry for you.
Right. Okay. So, I did mute her, and, because I really wanted to hear what you had to say, and then after that, I'm going to give it back to her, because I really want to have some doubt.
That's
okay.
fine.
Okay,
we
good.
Knew that this was going to be touchy. We knew this. So,
right, of course. I mean, I want it to be that way. So I just wanted to try to respond to a lot of what she said, and when I do that, I'm going to unmute her to hear if I missed anything, because I know I'm going to forget something. But anyway, so the first thing that she said was, the verse about the person that basically, where a man had sex with a woman and, the woman was raped or something like that, and all of a sudden, there's a dowry.
Right.
One thing, well, there's two things I did want to say about that. One, that kind of actually gets into breaking another law. They say that if you actually enslave someone against their will, that you're to be put to death. And so sometimes that law was actually like kind of conflated, with the Old Testament. The second thing I want to say is that when the new covenant came with Christ, those things were ratified. And not only that, but those are laws that, were only specifically Jews, not the entire planet. But anyway, back to the new covenant. When it comes to the new covenant, it overshadows all of those old covenant laws and everything. So for her to say that these people are just taking these old covenant, Old Testament verses and they're still trying to apply them today, it's almost like trying to use a deleted file. You can't do it anymore. And so if they're doing that, that's a big problem, and it really does go to show that they really don't know their Bible, whether they whether they understand that or not, and also about the whole polygamy versus men cheating with other women and certain families and other women in the church. The fact is, I don't mind talking about any of those issues on both sides. I try to be as unbiased as possible when it comes to generalization, because by the end of the day, it's really sin that's the problem. That's the real issue. If you can't commit to one woman, or even if you take the polygamy and you can't commit to those women and treat them right and actually treat them how you want to be treated, then that's a problem. I'm here trying to point out the Israelite side of the problem, because they seem to be just basically they're more open about certain stuff, and it's a little more inconsistent with But now another thing I wanted to point out, my mind went blank, but she had said something. I forget what she said. I'll just basically unmute her. And then after that, just have a little bit more dialogue. And then from there are two people left who want to say something. So I'll just go ahead and unmute. Whatever. Now, I'm going to ask, can you tell me some more things that I missed? Because there was other stuff that you had said, and I just want to know what what you had said.
Oh, you didn't get what I was saying. Well, I said at the end.
Oh, okay, I remember now. Okay. Yeah, so there was the other one where you spoke about where you pulled out a proverb, right? And the proverb basically said something along the lines of trust no woman, and then after that it said something them. And that's the reason why I wanted you to read it slower, because it seems like the verse is pointing out.
I didn't read it, and I'm done with this conversation. I've been condemned to hell by old girl. She feels sorry for me not believing.
No, that's
not. In this world was built on believing.
I can condemn you. I don't have that power to condemn you to hell.
Please explain to me what the fuck in this world was built on believing.
What was built on believing? There was an airplane.
You know what? Skip it. Excuse me. It wasn't built on believing. It was not built on believing.
Actually, it was. I mean, if you know what faith is, I mean, in the Hebrew, faith is actually faithfulness. That means faith with works.
Oh, boy.
That's why the Bible says faith without works is dead. So people believe in stuff that they eventually work toward. So... Yeah.
Go to the next caller. That's the best thing you could do tonight, is go to the next caller.
All right. Well, I hope that we talk again.
Yeah. And I didn't condemn her to hell.
Yeah.
I did.
And neither do I. But anyway. All right. So next up, we got a 111 and a 937. So I'm going to go ahead to the 111. I don't like 111 calls because I never know who the heck is behind the door. So 111, you're on the air. 111, you're on the air.
Oh, yeah, it's not a green door, for sure. I really hate that I missed the first part. Hi. I really hate that I missed the ladies' description of the Hebrew Israelite in terms of how.
You know what? Real quick, you're actually breaking up and going in and out. Yeah. Can you slowly repeat what you said?
Is this better? Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
okay,
I don't have
good
reception. Oh, this is Miss Lady, and I really missed the first part of the show where the lady was describing the culture for women within that Hebrew Israelite cult. I really hate that I missed the description, but from what I'm getting is that it's highly misogynistic and oppressive to women, which she described it as such. Okay, so any organization, any group that oppresses and abuses anybody, any group of people, any people at all, verbally, mentally, emotionally, financially, or psychologically, is not something that anyone should be involved in.
Yes,
and so I don't know, where I live, we don't have that group out here on the corners hollering and screaming. That's what I heard somebody saying. I don't know who they are. I just heard them described. But it doesn't sound like any right-thinking woman would be attracted to that lifestyle and that type of energy that emanates from those men. It just sounds like there's a lot of anger and a lot of misplaced anger and hatred onto the women in the group. And then you start to wonder, who are you really? Do you really want women, or do you just want to use women? Or are you lovers of yourself?
Right.
That was very powerful.
Cherry, did you? Cherry, did you want to say something?
Yes, sister. Thank you for calling into the show, and thank you for your comments. It was truly blessed. How they start out. You do have wild groups like GMS. They're extremely vulgar, so the women don't even come into their so-called school or whatever. They're not even allowed in. But like when you're dealing with like ISUPK, IUIC, and GOCC, and them other ones, When you're dealing with them, of course, they're not going to give off that persona at first. See, in misogynistic, if you look in the definition of misogynistic, it starts out, the first trait is charming. You know, you got to charm your way in. And then it starts to slowly turn, depending on what school that you're in. Now, for her, for my cousin that was with this gentleman who was in ISUPK, it was a slow turn, okay? It was like a slow, medium turn. Everything, if you notice, if you go back, and I'm sure this will be on record, if you go back to the beginning of when I come in the show of explaining about what she went through, you will hear me say that the relationship was nice. It was beautiful. We didn't really know too much about him. And, you know, we didn't really think nothing of it. This is a guy that she liked, and this is a, you know, guy that like her, and hopefully it goes somewhere good. And that's how it started out. But then it turned ugly. It turned vicious. It turned volatile. It turned misogynistic. It turned controlling. It turned to heartless. It turned to not listening and non-communication to the point it dumbed her down into silence. Like she was there, but she wasn't even there. So that's how you are exactly right. But how for them to come out, okay, you know, because imagine for yourself, if they came at you, come on, you going to do blah, 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 blah. You going to go for that? Heck no. You're not. You're going to probably hit the pavement running 90 miles an hour. But a lot of them, the way it started out is charming. You thinking, oh, this is a nice man and a godly man and a sweet man, and okay, he all about me and I'm all about him, and then bam, boom, test tube, baby, I got you. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's pretty much what happened. So I hope
So it sounds like they're psychopaths. They're extreme narcissists and psychopaths. Basically, women should be and men to beware of the one who's a professional charmer.
Yes, ma'am.
Because,
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because Prince they're projecting this Prince Charming image, and they're actually just demons, really. I'm sorry.
Yes,
they're going to turn,
yes.
into being very demonic. So that's a big flag anyway. Anybody come at you and they're just overly charming and seem too good to be true, it is too good to be true.
Yeah,
they're probably the exact reverse.
And also, just to add to what you guys are saying, I think that's one of the differences between, I guess, you know, the Black Hebrew Israelite movement and Christianity. You know, in Christianity, you know, you can choose to be charmful or whatever it is you want to be, but by the end of the day, you have to abide by certain principles of commitment. You have to commit yourself to this woman. You know, you have to give her your last name. The Bible says that you are to love her like Christ loved the church, who gave himself for her. You know, those are the principles that you find in the Bible that Christians actually pull out. Now, of course, both sides end up pulling out, oh, you have to obey as a man, you know, and both sides end up, you know, torturing that part to death. I'll give both sides that. But when you go on to the Black Hebrew Israelite side, it seems that the whole charming does kind of work to your advantage because, you know, the doctrines and the scriptures, you know, especially from the Old Covenant, that they use seem to actually put a man in an advantage to be able to have more than one woman, despite the fact that we're in a new covenant. You know, you can actually not really legally marry the person a lot of times because, you know, that's what you're finding out. With Cherry's story and with the woman's story that I was talking about earlier, these men just basically said, well, you've had sex, and therefore, because you've had sex, you are now married, and that's it. So there's not even anything legally binding, especially when you have a government that you believe that is led by the white man Esau. So I guess you're definitely not going to do that. You know, so it seems that there's a lot more weight to be added to the Israelite side when it comes to being a man wanting to, assuage or persuade a girl. And those are the kind of issues that I'm finding. So that's the reason why I have the Black Hebrew Israelites under the microscope tonight. It's not that I'm being biased. I'm seeing an issue. That's all.
Jedi mind trick, their doctrine is a bunch of those BS.
And then may I interject that even
hold on, you're breaking up again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
May I interject? And it is just not by my testimony of me being a woman and testifying on behalf of another woman. You can even hear from brothers who were part of the movement and left would tell you what the women actually go through. If you take, and so Real posted it, interview with Brother Kevin, Brother Maurice and Brother Marcus, and they were on Debate Talk for You. If you go on YouTube, you can find it. It's under So Real's channel. Literally, they will tell you exclusive.
Just a second. 773. The call has dropped. If she is not aware of that, I'm going to go ahead and text her real quick and let her know the call has dropped. While I go ahead and do that, we do have one other caller that's on the line, and so I'm trying to think of your name. Anyway, I got to go ahead and let you go. So it was wonderful chatting with you, but I'm going to go ahead and get to another caller. So thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so Sister Cherry has dropped, so let me go ahead and text her real quick, and then after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get to this next caller. Okay, so I just text her. All right, so our next caller is, let's see. Oh man, I lost my place. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay. So we have a 860. 860, you are live on the air.
Hey, brother. I think I called in a little earlier. The line just dropped? Unexpectedly?
I'm not sure. Oh, wait. You know what? Yeah, your voice does sound familiar. Did you call in earlier? I'm not sure. You already spoke or something?
Yeah, I think I did call in, but did her line just drop just now? Like, it just hang up?
No, her line did, and so I just gave her a text message letting her know, and that she could call back. So, anyway, now I'm trying to see who else is.
Normally, I think, I'm not sure if Blog is a cusp for this, but if it is, let her know, because usually when you say certain things, it does play around to a degree. Not always. But
okay, I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
I want to say this show particularly is favorable for doing it. I doubt it does this particular broadcast, but other blog talks have done it. But we gotta sit back and see. Let's see if it happens again.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you, man. Yep. All right.
Wait, what other thing?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shoot. Okay, let me put him back on real quick. Okay, what's up?
Is anybody doing a free conference after this? Because there has to be a short little dialogue after this show.
Oh, man. I could. I haven't done that quite yet. So far, I'm still in like the 4-hour range.
You should be doing that. Where is it? Did Jay call tonight?
I'll see if I can. Hold on, say it again.
Did Jay call in tonight? Because he normally does this after 12.
No. So far, they have not called in yet. And so, okay, there she is, 773.
Well,
all right, got her back on.
If you're gonna meet me, do me a favor. Give the message out to tell Jay to do the conference call, and maybe he'll call in.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens.
Got it. Okay.
Just a reminder, right? Do that. Thank you.
Got it. No problem. Yep. All right. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and put in good brother. Gotta type him in and save him there. All right, so I see that we have a few more people that jumped on the line. I see a new caller here. I see a 510. Just a second. Let me go ahead and do a check. Cherry, are you back? Okay, Cherry, are you back? I think you have to hit number 1. Press 1 so that way you can come on in. If you can hear my voice, press 1 so that way you can come on in. Still waiting. Okay, well, while we wait for Sister Cherry to press 1 so she can come on in, I'm going to go ahead to my next caller, and I see a 510 area code. All right, 510, you are live.
Hey, brother, I just calling in. This is Mo Light.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Nothing much.
All right.
Oh,
now
let me get to you in a second. I gotta wait. Hold on. I gotta get this visa. But I definitely want to say I definitely feel the issues that the sisters going through is very troubling, and I think they should galvanize and come together. And I don't fault you for seeing it how you see it. I mean, you had a freedom of choice, and you could choose what issues you want to take on in your lifetime because it's your journey. And I applaud you for, making the stance that you're making, because stuff like that shouldn't be tolerated regardless of the group or whatever. Wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And we have to get to that point. And I hope that sister definitely, galvanize the other sisters that are going through the things that they're going through. Thank you, Chief. So that
all right,
something can happen and
Hello?
sisters can get away from that and
yep, we can hear
feel
you.
victimized.
Okay. Thank you, brother, for your comment. It's real. And, unfortunately, a lot of Hebrew Israelites do not want to address this. They want to act dumbed down and say, oh, well, we're righteous men. We take care of our wives and war this and all this other, this, that, and the third. And I believe there's a lot of that is materialistic on one end. But on the other end, emotionally, these women are being beaten down. Some of these women are experiencing physical abuse, and along with any other type of misogyny that's going on. So, yeah, it's out there. It's true. And I'm not saying that it has not happened in the Christian church, but you got to look at the difference. The Christian church is not pushing polygamy. The Christian church is not telling, well, woman, be silent. You have no place. The Christian church is not the one that's making the woman feel like God doesn't love her or like she doesn't matter to God. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, and I heard the testimonies and heard the stories from these different women, including my own family member, that this is what was being pushed on their side. So this is why this is being brought up. I hear them say, well, won't you talk about the Christian church? Won't you talk about the Christian church? Yeah, we can talk about the Christian church, but what are the teachings? I mean, literally, come off now. You have brothers that can tell you, as before I got dropped off, that literally testify that this was going on. And they want to sweep it under the rug like this ain't never happened. And I'm telling you right now, that's a lie. It is happening. And still going on. Come on, you can go on YouTube and see various of videos what they're calling women black bees and H's and bed witches and coons and all stuff that you wouldn't even dare call your mama. Really? This is, I mean, and I was always taught, if a man can't even respect his mama, how the hell he gonna respect her? Really? Come on now, brother. This has got to be brought out. If they fake and they phony, they full of it. And then you want to sweep it under the rug like it's not happening. You want to wrap them up in robes and say, okay, kick in the curb, get in the kitchen. I don't mind cooking for my husband. I don't mind massaging his back. I don't mind to get on his back and eat. But guess what? He got to get on my back and me too. Since we in this together, we are one flesh. The Bible clearly says when a man and a woman come together, they are one flesh, not two. This ain't all about you. This is about you and her. The Hebrew Israelites got it wrong. How dare you come in here and say that you righteous men and then turn around and just treat this woman like she's lower than a dog? Oh, come on, man. It's enough to turn your stomach, man.
Right.
If you got a daughter, I mean, come on. Do you some of you Hebrew Israelite men, if you own here, do you have a daughter? Would you want your daughter treated that way? Really? You telling me you can utterly stand by and then, okay, you know what, since DMS is implementing the rape doctrine, well, go ahead and take your 14 or your 11-year-old daughter, your 5-year-old daughter down there and say, go ahead and have your way. Are you willing to do that? Come on, answer hard questions.
That's a good point.
Be real. Y'all sit out here on the streets and y'all say this crap and then turn around. But I bet you any kind of money that these men will not offer up their daughters. No. So stop treating your woman that gave birth to your daughter like trash.
That's a powerful point, and it's something to really think about. 510, do you got any last words? Because we're going to go to 937 next.
Oh, yeah. I'd just say, like, you really should never allow yourself to be put in a position like that. We have to understand that we have to stand on our virtues and our morals. And I know that the world breaks us down and it leaves us susceptible to certain actions because we focus on our character flaws. But I think as more sisters like yourself get fed up, and I think you should just neglect the whole thing in general. If somebody's treating you that bad to where you lose yourself or you feel like you don't have any worth, regardless of whatever relationship you have, that is dead. Move on. It's not until you ladies take a stance that anything is really going to, gain any momentum. It's just like you try to go to a club and they pretty much let the girls in free and then charge the dudes quadruple the amount to get in because they know if they see a club full of females, they're willing to pay damn near anything. So the point being, you got to know your worth, and you can't just say what your worth is. You got to live it. And if somebody's going to treat you like shit, you got to abandon that. Whatever titles y'all got, whatever constraints y'all got, you got to let it go because ain't nobody going to learn no lesson by just words. That's
a good word, man. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good. You're right. And you know what, brother? I agree with you on what you said, but I wish it was just that simple because you got to remember. Let's look at the recipe. The recipe is you get with this man. You don't know what he's like, but you got to find out what each other is like, correct? Then the next thing is you got them implementing the Word of God or a form of so-called the Word of God, and you got that mixed in. And then this woman is like, well, I love this man and I love God, and I hear what they're saying and I hear this teaching. And then it brings about an inner confusion. And then so you get to a point where they teach these women to appease, not to appease God. They teach them to appease the man is to appease. So basically, they got these women, a lot of these women calling them lords, man. Come on now, lords. And there's only one Lord. Jesus Christ is Lord. So, but they got these women calling these men lords, which is supposed to be so-called husbands. And that's their way of getting their salvation or appeasing God, which is completely and totally and utterly wrong. So then you got this tug of war. I love this man, and then I love God, I love this God, and then boom. So they in a state of traumatization situation. I hope I broke that down for you good enough. But you are right. But then here's another thing. You don't know. We don't come with a manual, okay, or a sign. This person is crazy. This person is happy. This person is schizophrenic. This person is bipolar. We don't come like that. You don't know a person until you actually deal with them. So you can't fault these women for getting into a situation that they did not know. They don't know that it is harmful to them. They just getting with a brother that they are attracted to, that they like, and hoping that it will potentially lead into something futuristically great. But unfortunately, that dream turns into a nightmare. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I actually muted him, because that was pretty much his last words. But, for the people around the world that are hearing you, I believe they can put together y'all's conversation to see both y'all's conclusions. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next caller. And we have an area code of 937. You are live.
Hey, what's up, fam? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Peace and blessings, everybody. This is CMB, the ambassador. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing tonight?
Hi.
Doing good. Hey, Cherry, you ever heard of this dude? I never heard of him.
CMB, are you the one who be on in the chat?
Yeah, that's me, man.
Yes, how are you? How you doing,
brother? Doing real good.
Hold on, how come I'm the only clueless one here, man? I don't be knowing.
Yes, indeed, man.
Oh my God, I love him. Oh my God, he is. Oh my goodness, I just God bless you, brother.
God bless you, sis. I really appreciate the honesty and the level of passion that you have. God is using you, man. So just keep doing what you're doing. I love y'all so much. Y'all just don't even know. I'm so happy for you and what God is doing in y'all.